This week's episode of I Was a Teenage Film Snob is not brought to you by workout routines or New Year's resolutions. Welcome to I Was a Teenage Film Snob. I'm James Chalmers, your friendly neighborhood film snob. It is 2024, it's a new year, and this is our first episode. So, we're doing the same thing we do every year. We're going to talk about the movies of 2023, what happened last year, look at some of our favorites, and we're kicking off the year with two guests who have been on time and time again, but they've never done a year in review episode before, and it's high time they did because they're fantastic. They're the original power couple. I always refer to them as that. Please welcome back to the show for the first time of the year. It's Liz and David. Welcome back, guys.
Oh,
Hello.
thank you.
On again.
Yes.
You keep inviting us, and we just keep saying yes.
I said to Tina sometimes, I'm like, I don't know why they keep doing it. Like, they've got lives. Like, I'm like, they keep saying yes. Like, I'm like, they must be having fun, or like they feel like look, James is very special, and just indulge him, please.
Oh, we love talking to you, James. All good. Yeah. And it's 2024, New Year. Happy New Year to you and your listeners.
To everyone, yeah.
Happy days.
We haven't even taken a break from the show. There was an episode out on New Year's Eve, and a week later we're back to it. So
yeah, working right through.
No rest for the wicked.
No rest for the wicked.
That's what the pros do.
That's it. We did a big quiz show last week, so I'm very excited about that. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. And I think being that Boxing Day has had a couple of new movies come out, I assume.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Boxing Day is typically a big event day for movies here in Australia.
That's when you always get like your Lord of the Rings movies, you get your Hobbits.
Last year it was Avatar.
I still haven't seen that Avatar movie. But I did finally see the first Avatar, so I'm catching up.
Yes, don't worry, I'm the same boat as you, James.
Yep.
I think the big one this year was Aquaman. That was probably the biggest one, which I went and saw, and I had a lot of fun with. So
You'll have to tell me more about it. I'm yet to be persuaded, so you'll have to, let me know a few things about it. And
look, yeah. I've looked at the internet. I've scoured it. I'm the only one. So everyone is either like it's terrible or a begrudging, like, oh, it's not that bad. My review was like, yeah, it's good. I liked it. Like everyone was like, why would you bother releasing it? The universe is closing. And I was like, sure. But before there were cinematic universes, people weren't worried about that sort of thing. Like the movie needs to stand on its own. And I think it does. Like you got Patrick Wilson front and center, and he's incredible. So
good. I did enjoy the first one.
Yeah.
It was bonkers fun.
Yeah.
It was really weird, trippy, but admittedly straight out of a comic book.
Yeah.
Like to be fair, it's Aquaman. He's a weird dude. Right?
Yeah, so, it's a weird concept.
yeah. A man, a superhero that talks to fish.
Yeah. And I will
say... Not a merman. No.
And,
merman.
You're the second people I've heard reference that before. We were somewhere else today. Some stranger I heard say to us like, merman. I was like, oh my God, a Zoolander reference. I'm like, should I go be friends with them now? No, I just decided not to because that would have been strange.
Wasn't there now? Robot Chicken. Did you ever watch Robot Chicken?
No, I didn't. It's one of those shows. I've seen like a couple of clips, but I don't know it very well.
Maybe I'm right. You might have to go back and watch a few clips, but I'm pretty sure that Aquaman doesn't just talk to fish in Robot Chicken.
Well, there's a really great joke in Peacemaker as well.
Okay.
Where I don't know if you watched the Peacemaker.
I have watched Peacemaker.
Yeah, the very last episode. The spoiler alert for a 2-year-old show. But the Justice League show up late. And like Peacemaker makes a joke about Aquaman being intimate with fish, and Flash basically confirms it. So it's great. This isn't how I expected the show to start, but hey,
off to a good start.
Off to a great start. How was your New Year, guys?
Yeah, it was a bit quiet, but it was good. It was a nice way, just a quiet way to enter the year, I think. But we've seen. Well, actually, we did see Wonka recently, so we took the kids out to see that. So I know that's a 2023 movie, but. And we really enjoyed it, actually. It was quite good, wasn't it?
It was
really liked
surprisingly, because we went and saw it as well.
Yeah.
Because we had some free tickets, so we scored some tickets for Christmas and my birthday and stuff. And I said to Tam, like, what do you want to go see? Because I'll go see anything.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, let's go see Wonka. And because there's an actor in it that she really likes from Horrible Histories. He was one of the chocolatiers.
Yes,
Matthew Boynton.
Yeah. And I said to her, I'm like, he's probably going to be for 5 minutes. And he's not. Like, he's in it throughout.
Yeah.
and I've gone on record. People know on the show as well. I've never been the world's biggest Timothée Chalamet fan. I don't know what it is. He just seems very. He seems very much like the characters he normally plays. He seems very kind of like snooty and a bit of a jerk and stuff. So I'm like, And whilst I don't know if he was the best casting for Wonka, I really enjoyed him in this. So, like, I think that, when he's trying to be ridiculous and silly, I think that's where he kind of goes a bit too far. I just don't buy him as, like, kind of the wacky guy.
Mm-hmm.
But all the grounded stuff he did in Wonka, I loved. So, like, there's some really, like, heartfelt moments, like all the stuff with his mother and stuff. No, I really enjoyed it. And I was going for Hugh Grant. I was like, I just want to see him as an Oompa Loompa. And he did, if anything, just more of that. I would have liked more of him.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I thought that was one of my favourite movies, actually, recently. And just Hugh Grant was just phenomenal in that. I really, really, really appreciated the roles that he's taking over the years. He's gone from sort of the heartthrob from,
what was it? No, we're Notting Hill
and
Four
all
Weddings
those.
and a Funeral.
9 months,
I love
one
those.
of them.
Yeah. Love
Mickey
those.
Blue Eyes, did you ever see that one where he plays a gangster?
I haven't seen
Oh,
it.
it's so funny.
Oh, gosh, you would have seen that.
He's in The Gentleman.
He's great in it.
Yes.
I would say one of my favourite performances of his is in The Gentleman, yeah.
And the follow-up one, what was it? There was another one that he...
Operation Fortune? I haven't seen that one.
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
He's the same character in that film.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, his performance in Gentleman is next level. It's so
I have
different.
to see that then. But so I'm a bit of a fan, but I felt like he was great. And like I've seen him in Paddington. Well, this is actually...
He's so good in Paddington too. Like,
the same producer that did Wonka did Paddington as well. And I just thought, he seems to produce like Paul King, he seems to make like...
So he's the director.
Yeah, he's the director, yeah.
But the producer is...
David Heyman, who did the Potter films.
Yeah,
oh, he did the
all
Potter
of the
films, right.
Yeah.
That's why they're such good casting,
Yeah.
But I just thought, it was such a good movie, and I really look forward to that. I was like, I was actually waiting for him to come on screen. I'm like, when's the Oompa
I know, I said it to 10. I'm like, gee, it's been a while. Like, where is he?
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say about Wonka, I was saying to Tina as we were looking at something like, gee, I'm like, what happened between this movie and the Gene Wilder one? Because things must have been... He's so bitter in that original movie. What happened? Because
Do you know what? When you said that to us, because we'd seen, just to give a bit of context to the audience, we'd seen James for Christmas.
Yeah.
And you were talking about the Wonka movie, and we were talking about seeing it with the kids. And you said, and then you mentioned that exact thing. And I couldn't help but think the same thing after the movie was finished. I was like, oh, that had a happy ending, didn't it? So, and then I remember saying to David, well, how old do you think, like, Willy Wonka was in that? Like, he must have been quite young. And then I always thought that the 1970s version, I always thought he was a little bit fair bit. I didn't think he was that old. But
I feel like Gene Wilder would have been like... I thought Gene Wilder was probably like late 30s, 40s then. Because remember, everyone looks old in the 70s.
True.
But maybe like he was like in his 50s or something, and like he just, the world of chocolate had left a sour taste in his mouth.
But it is a very it's interesting though, because it's the same. You get the sense it's the same Wonka.
It is,
same universe.
Well, all just the musical cues and stuff like that.
Yeah. And a lot of the art, the set, and all the art and all that sort of stuff is pretty much the same.
Yeah.
So what happened?
And I was reading something. I don't know what I was reading, but I don't know whether it was a theory or whether it was confirmed by the director. I can't remember now, but. In the movie, Wonka makes, and we'll get to the topic at some point, the Wonka makes 5 friends in the movie, and they're meant to be the polar opposite of the 5 children, or like 4 of the friends are the polar opposite of the 4 naughty children in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So the idea that, like, I think, like, what was her name, Noodle?
Yes.
Yeah. So Noodle, I think, is meant to kind of like, you kind of cipher for Charlie, like you kind of substitute her, and like that's who Charlie reminds him of later on. But then the other 4 adults are kind of like the polar opposite of the children who like take advantage of Wonka and stuff. That was the kind of idea. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, didn't have to do that, but I like that detail. It's fun.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They had, I don't know the actor's name, but they had the butler from Downton Abbey in it. He was great. Good stuff.
The butler from Downton.
Yeah, he was like the old accountant guy. He was like, he's in. Because I've never seen Downton Abbey, but I've seen like clips.
Oh,
you know the accountant that obviously lives downstairs in the washroom.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And the other guy that's the thug character.
Tom Davis.
Tom Davis, is that his name?
Yeah, he's so good.
Yeah.
And Olivia Colman. Like what I love about, I just feel like Olivia Colman's such a real human being. Like, because one of the first times I saw her was Hot Fuzz. Like my favorite movie of all time, Hot Fuzz. She's one of the cops in there.
Yes,
And then like she goes to being like Academy Award winning actress, as we call it, and then she's like, all right, I'm playing like a wench in Wonka. Let's go. Like
excellent.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Yeah. There's not a bad performance in that flick. Even like I'm not a huge fan of Matt Lucas. I think he's fine. But like even in this I liked him. Keegan Michael Key is brilliant. So but yeah. It's,
Rowan Atkinson was brilliant as well. I just was like, just so many great actors in that film. It was really good.
So that was New Year. So that's where we kicked off. So we're talking about 2023. We're not going to do a list per se. The audience is like they're having a shock horror. We're just going to look at, I guess, 2023 through your eyes and some of the movies that you watched. 2023, I thought was a pretty big year for film and some really good stuff. Before we get into the movies themselves, how was 2023 in film for you?
On reflection, like we were struggling to kind of come up with a list of the movies that we'd seen because I didn't feel like we'd seen a lot. But then when I went through the list, I'm like, actually, no, I've seen probably not as many as I would have in another year.
Yeah.
But it's a good list. Not a huge list, but a pretty good list. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I think like I hadn't realised how many movies we'd actually seen. And the year just went so fast. We had a lot of big events happening last year anyway, like my 40th, and then we went to Noosa, and like it was just crazy year. So I just think I just was like, when you told us, I was like, oh, that's going to be tricky. But then I was like, oh no, we've seen this, and they've all been really, really good. I can honestly connect to everything that we have watched in a really positive way, and always being able to find out just little nuggets of just little pockets of interesting things to watch, I suppose.
And some of the movies that came out earlier in the year, we've only really seen recently.
Yeah.
So
it took us a little while to get there, but we got there.
we've managed to catch up on quite a few.
Well, I was the same. I didn't start. I went to the movies more last year than I have since before COVID. I think last year I went probably around 10 times in the end. It ended up being like pretty happy with that because I just started catching up with my friend Josh, who's a friend of the show. He's come on quite a few times because we live on opposite sides of the city. We've known each other for 30 years. And I was like, we should catch up more. And he goes, dinner and a movie? I'm like, dinner and a movie. Let's meet in the city. So we did that like 4 or 5 times. And then like towards the end, I'm like, oh, I'm allowed to go by myself. I can do that. Yes. And there's like a bunch of cinemas nearby. And like, there's a Reading out in Dandenong, which are $10 tickets. So perfect.
Yeah.
So I never did going out a few times, but a lot of my movies were home watches. Like I just waited for the DVD or the Blu-ray.
Yeah, we didn't take that many trips to the cinema this year. Yeah, probably I think about maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately we missed out on Barbie, so we had to buy that one to watch it, and Oppenheimer. Yeah. But the rest of them, I think most of them, the rest of the list, we managed to get to the movies. But can you believe we missed out on Barbie? I missed out by like a day. Like they'd just finished.
That's crazy.
I was going to take our daughter Isabella to watch it with a friend, but it just couldn't get any more sessions. So so popular. Yeah.
All right. So less structured than normal. Let's start talking about some movies that you like. We're not going to do anything like 5 to 1 or anything like that. We normally do. We're just going to go through a few, and hopefully I've seen most of them. I reckon I've probably seen a good number. I think I watched 150 something new ones last year, 376 in total. So
good on you.
I might start with some that I saw earlier in the year. The first half of the year. It's sort of really hard to know when they came out. So you have to correct me if I'm
sure.
wrong.
No, I don't think it matters. But I'll do my best.
Earlier in the year, we saw Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Yeah.
We saw Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, it was about the kids. Yeah.
The Flash, when was that?
That was June.
Okay, So first half of the year, but that was one that we watched. Indiana Jones, Dial of Destiny.
That was around the same time as Flash,
At the same time. And so, they were the ones that we caught up with earlier in the year.
Yeah.
Were there any that you didn't see of that list?
I didn't see
Indiana Jones.
Yeah. I haven't actually watched a lot of his.
It's not really a girl movie. Like Tina likes them, but like I can see why you wouldn't have been like attracted to those movies.
Yeah.
That movie, and I guess we'll talk about it in a moment, but I remember I took my dad to see it in cinemas. I'm like, I'll take you to see Indiana Jones. He introduced the films to me. So I'm like, let me take you. And I'm sitting there and there's no one in the theater. Like it's desolate. The cinema's empty. And I'm like, it's Indiana Jones. Why is there no one here? And I'm looking at the kids behind the counter. I'm like, oh, they were they were still a thought in their parents' memory when the last movie came out. Like they've never lived in a world with Indiana Jones. Like they've never been there for a release problem. Like that's why it's not come out. That's why it's not performing, which is a shame because
that's going to be his last movie. Do you reckon?
Yeah. I mean, based on this one, like I thought it was okay, and I'm sure we'll get into it a little bit more soon. But for the character of Indiana Jones needs to be able to move around, and Harrison Ford is in his 80s. Like, do you know what I mean? Like he can't be.
So well.
Yeah.
And they did try to transition. In the movie, and
to the female character.
Yeah.
So could you guys envision that it could be a female character in the future? Do you? Or?
I think, me personally, go for it. Go for it. I think at that point you can't call it Indiana Jones though.
Yeah.
Like if you're not gonna, I would say reboot it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not against a reboot. I know some people get really precious about it. Like, but it's probably too late to do it now because he's the voice of everything. But like 10 years ago, probably should have been Chris Pratt. Do a Chris Pratt, or he played Han Solo, Alden Ehrenreich. Get him to be Indiana Jones. Yeah. Or Ansel Elgort, all these sexy men we were talking about before. Like there are plenty of like young actors who could play Indiana Jones. Or like the interview, like just create something new. Like you can, but I don't see how you can do another Indiana Jones film without Indiana Jones being in it.
Because it's so iconic as well, and to be able to continue the legacy is a bit of a tricky thing.
I think with time, I reckon that's what they'll do.
Yeah.
They will.
If they want to continue with it.
Well, it's it is a big property for Lucasfilm and Disney. It is.
Yeah.
And they haven't had a movie out prior to this one for many, many years, and even before that, it was quite a bit of time. So, that it is a big property. It still has brand recognition, and they could do a lot with it in terms of like branching out into other, like the video games,
well, that's what
TV shows.
I reckon what they'll probably do is do a streaming show. They'll probably do like a mini series or something like that, like get some interest that way.
Well, there was the young Indiana Jones.
Yeah, of course. And you've got plenty of great young actors out there now. Like you could do that.
Yeah.
Because that's sort of like just what happens, like our actors, they start to age because they're humans and that's what's going to happen. And
Tom Cruise is young Indiana Jones.
Now, Tom Cruise is a whole other kettle of fish. That man does not age at all. Is anyone a Scientologist?
I mean, like,
leave it at that.
I just realized that, like, you could do the birth of Scientology as an Indiana Jones storyline, cross promotion.
So I'd like to talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Let's talk about go for it.
That was in February. And so it's nearly 12 months ago.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of people who just hate on it.
Yeah.
And it's an easy one to hate on because it's Ant-Man, and
love it.
it's a minor character, but the previous two films, the first film was excellent, the second film was very good. I thought the third film was good.
Yeah, I really liked the third one as well. When Ant-Man came out, I remember I was talking to Tim because it was probably the most hotly anticipated film. No pun intended, little ant joke there for you. Definitely for the first quarter, it was probably the most hotly anticipated film for me. But I was saying to him, I don't care. Like, they got Kang, that's cool. Like, if he's your Thanos, they're not going to do a whole lot with him in this movie. Like, it's just going to be a tease. And also, he's a multiverse character, so it's probably not going to be the real Kang, which I was right. Like, spoilers for a 12-month-old movie. I said, all I want in this movie is if you give me some really lovely moments with Scott and Cassie, I'm happy. Because in Endgame, the most heartbreaking thing in that movie is that he lost 5 years of his child's life. So all I want to do is see him try to take care of his daughter. And like in the first 20 minutes, they're falling through the quantum realm, and he's like holding on. So I'm like, done. I've got my money's worth. Anything beyond this is gravy. I had a really good time with that. I thought it was fun. Like I think you had to do something different with Ant-Man. It couldn't just be like he can turn really small, he can get really big. Like you had to put him in like a really unique situation. And Peyton Reed even said, "Is like, look, we've always been the punchline movie. Like you have a big event movie, and then Ant-Man comes in to cleanse your palate." He goes, "We don't want to be that with us. We want to be, we want to have some stakes, make it a bit more serious." It felt like an Ant-Man film to me. Like I don't know what people were expecting.
I mean, look, I actually think the Ant-Man films are fantastic. I've loved every single one of them. I think there's something very likeable about Paul Rudd and how he portrays it. Like a little, he's a little bit cheeky. He's very mischievous, but then he's evolved over the movies as well. So by the third movie, I just feel like it was also really important to tie in what was happening with Michelle. I don't know the name of the characters, but Michelle.
Janet Van Dyne had been lost in the
right.
quantum realm,
Yeah.
and then in Ant-Man and the Wasp, they rescue her.
That's
They were like, we need to
right.
find Mum, and they got her back. And so this one, they go back in, and she's like, by the way, I met this guy, and that's how they introduced Kang.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important part of the whole, because then it carries on with everything else that's happening. You know, we've obviously been watching the Loki series as well, which was absolutely fantastic.
Really?
I loved all of that. And, you know, watch that, right? And so it all just connects. So I think it was a worthwhile movie to watch.
Yeah.
Well, I'm now solidly watching every single Avengers movie possible. I'm trying to watch every single other thing, TV show, because I think I just want to learn as much. And I've not read all the comics, so I don't know I can only rely on what I'm watching.
Well, there's a good show coming out next week. I can't wait for that one.
Yeah.
Echo. Oh, here comes Daredevil.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's fair to hate on Ant-Man. Look, if that's you and that's your thing, and you don't like the movie, that's fine. It's something for everyone. I didn't hate it. I think it's unfair to call it a bad movie. I think it's a fun movie. It doesn't have massive implications to the universe.
No.
But
it answers a lot of questions of what's going on.
Yeah. And so I think, and it's not my favourite movie, but I don't think it's a bad movie.
Yeah, I liked. I know a sticking point for a lot of people was MODOK. People were like, he's meant to be a machine, organized, designed only for killing, and he's a punchline. And I was like, yeah, but do you remember what movie you're watching? Damn, man. And also, we're in the multiverse now, so you're telling me there's not another version of MODOK you're going to be happy with? I guarantee you, especially after the critique of this film, Kevin Feige was like, okay, we need to make a more serious MODOK. Yeah. Let's get on that. He comes in, he'll show up in Secret Wars or something. Yeah. You'll get MODOK again. Yes. But also, I would say, arguably the most ridiculous character in the Marvel Universe and the hardest to execute is MODOK.
Yeah. He's a massive head.
He's a massive head with tiny arms and legs. I feel like there may be a way to do it menacing. I'm not sure how you do that. Even when they did the animated series, which I haven't watched, they were like, Patton Oswalt, let's just get a comedian playing him. It's a tough character to pull off. I think they did, they went with a choice. I enjoyed it. I like seeing Murdoch's little bum. I thought that was funny, but it's not going to be for everyone. And that's fine.
Yeah.
But it's not the worst Marvel film ever made, and it certainly wasn't the worst film of the year. There's plenty of good stuff in there.
Well, going on from that, if we're going down that sort of Avengers thing, we watched Miss Marvel with the kids. And
the TV show.
No.
The Marvels.
The Marvels. Sorry, the Marvels. Because that was at the movies, yes?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just getting my
November.
wires crossed. I was like, okay, see that movie, I was like, I could have taken it.
Yeah.
No, I just thought I know it ties in with a lot of what's happening from the series, I can't think of the name. Oh, I did really like the Easter egg at the end where, she was, sorry, spoilers alert, but with the X-Men. So I thought that was really good, but I just didn't really find that movie as exciting as some of the other movies that I've seen. I actually preferred the Ant-Man and the Wasp compared to that.
I think a lot of people share your opinion.
Yeah. I liked all the girl cast, by the way, sorry, but I don't know.
I really enjoyed the Marvels. I was like, here's the thing. I've the constant critique about Phase 4 and 5 has been like, they're not doing the way they used to. There was a plan. No, there wasn't. Phase 1, there was no plan. Iron Man, they even have said time and time again, most of the dialogue was improv. They were just trying to get it done. Iron Man 2, there was no plan. They hoped to get to an Avengers film, but they were doing it movie by movie, hoping to see what happened.
Yeah.
In a post-Endgame world where they have had 10 flawless years or almost flawless years, cracks are going to show.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the Marvels works as a Phase 1 film. If that movie was in Phase 1, no one would be complaining. Wow, we've got 3 female superheroes on here. If we had to call them female superheroes, we couldn't just call them superheroes. We've got 3 of them. What they should have done was just made a Miss Marvel film, because that's all I cared about.
Yeah, same.
And because she was my favorite part of that, and that's why I went. And I will say, Brie Larson, maybe my favorite version of Captain Marvel in this version. I think she was a lot softer. I know, in the first Captain Marvel movie, she has to be a little bit more hard nosed. She's trying to prove herself. This one, she's been around a bit longer. And there's a bit of a lightness to her, a bit more of a heart to her. But I just wanted a vehicle for Miss Marvel. So that's what I came for.
Yeah.
That end scene where she mimics what Tony Stark did in Iron Man. I was like, perfect. I love this. This is great.
Yeah. And it suffered, box office wise, it suffered because of, I think, character recognition.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people know who Miss Marvel is. No one knows. And they didn't even really name
Monica Rambeau.
Like they gave her all the names that they've had for a Spectrum, Photon. They threw it all, and they still haven't settled on. To me, I didn't feel like they settled on anything. Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, isn't a widely known character in the general audience, right? So, and then it also meant that you had to do a bit of homework with it because you had to see the Disney Plus.
Yes.
Ideally,
to
get the most from it.
The best thing they did though was bring that cast into that movie, have all of Kamala's family in there because that was all my favorite stuff.
That was my favorite too. I love Miss Marvel, and I agree with you, James. I think I would have rather. Well, in a way, I would have liked. I think that's Miss Marvel carried that movie. To be fair,
definitely.
I think you're right though. She brought a softness to Captain Marvel, but I feel like she really carried that movie. But it did answer. Look again, it did tie in a lot of what was happening with the multiverse. It was bringing in the X-Men and the mutants story in. But I just wasn't as excited about that one.
Yeah, and fair enough. Like the villain is that it felt very much like a Phase 1 villain.
Yeah,
and that's why I say it's a Phase 1 film because that's what it felt like. The villain is fine. She doesn't really do much for the universe. I don't think it was the actress's fault. I thought she was fine.
No.
It's just they just didn't give it too much to do. But they did things we've never seen. Like the whole planet where everyone just talks in song. I was like, this is cool. I like this. I know that's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Like when the Flash sang in season 3 of the Flash, people got angry. So I understand. But I was like, I've never seen that in a Marvel film. So why wouldn't you do that? Like that's fun and interesting and different. Like you can't tell me they're not trying to keep changing and doing different things 15 years later because we've never seen that before.
Yeah.
So
and they're trying to capture different audiences.
Yeah.
Look, and you're right. Some of them are going to hit and some of them are going to miss. I think it's hard to sort of see down the track, even with they're introducing Thunderbolts. They're introducing I just worry that they're going to run into the same issues that, people the audience just isn't familiar with these characters. And
well, the rumor is that after Secret Wars or the last Avengers film is reboot, like they're closing the universe, which isn't a terrible idea.
Yeah.
I think The Marvels is a sleeper film. I think we're going to see when it hits Disney Plus. I think you'll see it catches more of an audience. I think because the way that the algorithm works, like if you like Miss Marvel, watch The Marvels, and then you'll find the audience will find it on streaming later. Yeah. It's a shame because I do think it's a fun film. It doesn't have a huge impact on the cinematic universe, but they don't all have to do that. Like they need to stand on their own as well. But yeah.
Yeah. So some other films.
Yes.
And we'll get to your list too. Do you want to mention a couple that you?
Yeah. Well, the ones that I'd seen Elemental with the kids. That was good.
I haven't seen that yet.
That was cute. You should take Zoe to see that. She'd love it. It's not scary or anything like that. And I think it's like any other Disney film, it really just hits on the heartstrings. So that was really good. I don't remember an awful lot about that one, so I'm not going to really discuss that one too much. But yeah, that's a good kids movie. I know I'm going to go and get the kids to watch Wish, which is coming out this year, so that's really good.
That's the 100th Disney movie, is that right?
Yeah, that looks really funny.
I love the art style. The art style's gorgeous. Like they did it was a cool choice.
Yeah. So I think, do you want to talk about?
The others that probably don't make. If I'm making a top 5, the others that probably don't make the top 5. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Mutant Mayhem.
That was cool.
Oh, so you liked it? Or?
I loved it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I loved it. It would be in the top 10.
Yeah.
But it's not quite making the top 5. But don't get me. That was a great.
Wasn't it an unexpected treat?
Yes, it was an unexpected treat.
Like, I went to go see. I remember seeing. I think when I went and saw Spider-Verse earlier in the year, we saw the trailers for Mutant Mayhem, and I'm like, this is what Seth Rogen's doing with the Turtles. So this looks different. Like, let's go check it out. And again, I went and saw it with my buddy Josh, and we came out of that with the biggest smiles plus on our faces. Like, it's so fun. Like, and I'm sure we'll talk about Spider-Verse at some point. I'm sure it's going to come up.
Yeah.
I liked Across the Spider-Verse a lot. Everyone's putting in their top 3 list. I think one thing that movie really lacked was heart. Like, I think visually it's a spectacle, and there's some really cool action, and the animation is gorgeous, and the story's really good. But what I love about Into the Spider-Verse is that gooey center. Like, it's just so emotional. Like, I've watched that movie a dozen times, cry every single time. Like, it always makes me cry. Didn't really get that for Across the Spider-Verse, but then I watched Turtles, and it was all about family. It's all about like these four brothers just trying to find their way, and like there's that like beautiful moment early on where they're watching Ferris Bueller from the rooftop.
Yeah.
It's got that great soundtrack, like
and wanted to be like part of the community, like part of their like peers and everything like that, and finding friendships.
Just be teenagers.
Just be teenagers. I actually can't. I do agree with you that the Spider-Man movies, like the first one, I really liked it, but the second one, I didn't connect with it as well. But I still agree with you. Like, I think all of the art in it is just phenomenal.
Oh, like when Da Vinci's Vulture shows up, I'm like, what am I watching? This is amazing. I've got to watch. I've only seen it once. I've got to rewatch it again. But Turtles, I've seen twice. I showed it. We watched it on my birthday. That was the second time Christina hadn't said, I'm like, watch this. Like, tell me what you think. And she fell in love with it as well. It's just maybe the best turtle film we've ever had.
Yeah, I think it is.
Like, it's so stunning. And like, I felt like they really stole or borrowed liberally from the visuals of Into the Spider-Verse. And I was like, good. Like, I love Pixar, but everything looks the same.
It
and like these other animation companies coming in and subverting it. That's what I said about Wish. I'm like, I'm so glad they're doing something a little bit different. Like, I can watch Toy Story and Incredibles and all those films time and time again. You can keep doing that animation style. I'll always be happy. But you go like one step further and make it look a bit different. Like, Turtles is so unique. It looks like it was drawn by children.
Oh, it is. It's
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's scribbles. Like,
fantastic. And our kids loved it too. Because like they had no real preconception. Like, I mean, we tried to show them the 1980s.
I just got them on Blu-ray the other day. Like,
and they're like, oh yeah, okay, Mum, but they weren't really that interested. But they actually really enjoyed that film, and I think we're keen to watch what's going to come of that too in the next few years.
They're teasing Shredder. We've got to get Shredder. Like, I want to jump back because there's another movie you mentioned earlier. You mentioned the Super Mario Brothers movie, which I would put in the same pile of like, what an unexpected delight that movie was. Like, until Barbie came out, it was the highest grossing film of the year. It made $1 billion. And I have seen that movie unintentionally probably almost 10 times. I saw it once in the theater. I showed it to Tina. I showed it to Zoe. And now Zoe watches it on a weekly basis. Every week when her grandparents come over, she's like, can we watch Mario? And like, she knows all the characters, and she's got like little Mario Kart toys now and stuff. But like, I just think it's a perfect popcorn movie.
Yes.
Don't ever see it. Well, again, I've seen it 10 times. Never bored. Whenever it's on TV, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll hang out for a few minutes and watch a bit of Mario. Like, stunning. Like, couldn't believe it. Like, it took 30 years since Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo hit the screens, and like, what a triumphant comeback. Like,
and it's about, again, I love what the premise of that is about: family, you know, and finding family and brothers, you know, and trying to make them, like, you know, trying to show people who they are, you know, and it's fabulous, and I love Jack Black's character in there too. It's like he's just amazing, Peaches and everything. So
I mean, I'm sitting there as a 45-year-old adult going, wait a minute. So you're telling me that there's a massive green pipe sitting under New York City that and there's a ladder down there, and there's a sewer system, and there's this big green pipe, and no one's gone.
Well, it was all bricked over, remember, until they went through.
Okay, you're right.
And
I'll have to watch it again.
The best thing about that movie, like, and I noticed this the first time I watched it, is that you can pause that movie at any point, and there are half a dozen Easter eggs.
Okay.
Like, so when they first get the job and they have to run to do the plumbing job for the woman with the dog, the whole path they walk is the first level of Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, really?
Like, it's done like there's jumps, and there's like, they even there's a flag they swing down at the end. It's exactly the same thing as level one. When they go underground for the first time, it's very slow, but it's the underground music. It's the da-da-da-da-da-da. When they smash through the wall, it's in the shape of Mario's head in an 8-bit design. Like, there's so much Mario in there. It's crazy. And they made Toad a likable character. Toad has always been very annoying to me, but again, Keegan-Michael Key, great.
He was so good, actually. And in fact, Will ended up loving him so much. He went and bought like a little stuffed teddy, and we just played with him around.
Yeah, it was really good fun. Good fun movie.
I was saying to Tina, because it was on the other day, and like, there's a montage where they're like talking about how Princess Peach arrived at the Mushroom Kingdom for the first time. And it's a very quick montage. You see her as a toddler, she puts like a dummy in a toad mouth, and then like she's doing the training course that Mario has to do later. I was sitting there for a second, I was like, you know what? I was like, I would watch an entire movie just about like Princess Peach growing up in the Mushroom Kingdom. Like they can give me so like Anya Taylor-Joy's performance is so good in that. Like because I know that like when the movie came out, people were like, "Oh, the princess is true, like much of a hero." I was like, "Shut up!" Like she's been a hero. She's been in she has been a playable character since Mario Brothers 2, and she can hold her own. Like you need to get over. That's your biggest problem with this movie. Then you've got a very cushy life, my friend. Anyway, sorry, we were talking about Mario.
No, so another movie that I saw. I'm not sure if you've seen Air. Have you seen Air?
I haven't. This is the Matt Damon one.
Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. You haven't seen
Is
it?
it the Nike one?
It's a Nike movie.
Cool. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. So it's the story of you'll have to. I'm trying to think of I know his last name is Knight, but anyway, it's Ben Affleck's character is the owner, CEO of Nike, and they have nobody in their stable. No athletes will join Nike. They all want to just join Adidas, right? Everybody wants to be an Adidas athlete. Nobody wants to be a Nike athlete. Michael Jordan's just about to enter the league. They approach Michael Jordan, basically say, "Do you want to sign with Nike? We'll do this and this." And then he's just basically a flat out no. Like, I absolutely don't want to have anything to do with Nike. And the story continues from there. And obviously, Michael Jordan becomes Nike's biggest ambassador.
Well, they name a shoe after him, you know?
And that's the story. It's the story of the creation of the first shoe.
Yeah.
And you go, there's a movie in that. It's an awesome movie. It's a fantastic movie.
If it's Damon and Affleck, it's gonna be great. Like they can't not make it. Like they could make a bad movie if they tried. Like,
and they do the whole movie without actually showing Michael Jordan.
Oh wow! Cool.
So it's not at all about Michael Jordan. He's just he's off the screen for most of the movie, 95% of the movie. So it's all about Nike. If you've seen movies like Moneyball with Brad Pitt, anything like that, it's an excellent sports adjacent movie. I really
enjoyed it. Down your alley.
I loved it. I really enjoyed Air. So that was really
I've been meaning to check it out. So that's cool. You're the first one I know who's watched it. So now I've got a review to it.
It's a really great look. As a just excellent performances, good story. I really enjoyed it.
Nice. Cool. Yeah. Well, the other movies that so Spider-Man is it
Across the Spider-Verse
is not in my top 5, but I didn't mind that one too much. We sort of rewatched that just recently, didn't we, as a kids? I think it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future with that movie.
The twist is great. I was not expecting that at all.
I just felt like it took a really long time though to get to the twist.
It's a long movie. It's 2.5 hours long. But there's some great, like the whole Mumbattan. See, that's where my favourite is with Indian Spider-Man. Played by Karan Soni, who is
Pavita Pravaka.
That was definitely my favourite part of the movie.
That was really good. But I liked, obviously Punk Spider-Man, or Spider-Punk. Like, he's great. Gwen, like Haley Steinfeld is Gwen Stacy. Like, great.
Can I just go through it because I've written down a few things here on Spider-Man because it did make, if I'm putting together a top 5,
David's top 5.
Just the variants. So there's apparently over 150 variants.
There's heaps.
So we've got you mentioned Peter Pavita Pravaka, who's the Spider-Man India.
I love that.
We've got Spider-Rex.
Spider-Rex.
That's right.
Spider-Cat. Peter Park's car.
Oh my God, I didn't even notice that one.
We've got Bagman, which was a Spider-Man variant.
Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four variant. Mayday Parker, who was Spider-Girl.
Yeah, it was Spider-Man's, Peter B. Parker's daughter. I was so glad they brought him back. Like,
we've got Spider-Horse.
Spider-Horse.
So weird.
And Web Slinger, who's the cowboy variant.
We had Ben Reilly, the clone, played by Andy Samberg.
The moody, the moodies.
Yes.
Spider-Man 2099 is in it. Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman's in it. It's like the cast is excellent. It's visually.
Was it Daniel Kaluuya who played Hobie?
Yes, Hobie. Yeah.
Like I so rarely get to see Daniel Kaluuya use his British accent. He's always doing an American voice, so it was really good to see him get to lean into that. Yeah, it was so fun.
There's the the Insomniac versions of the Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
They're in it. There's just so many variants in it. So
obviously, the big spoilers. Donald Glover shows up as the Prowler.
Yes.
There's even there's 2D styling, live action styling.
And that's why, like, even though it didn't have the gooey heart, I'm okay with it because they was like, we're just throwing everything. And I feel like because it's technically a 2-part story, I feel like Beyond the Spider-Verse is really going to bring the heart. The other thing I missed was, in the first one we had this great little tight-knit group of spider friends, and most of them didn't show up in this one until the very, very end. So, like, Peter Porker didn't come back. We didn't get Spider-Man Noir. We didn't get Penny Parker. But there is that little tease at the end of the movie. So we know that core group is coming back for Beyond, which I'm really looking forward to because they were everything in that. Like, that whole little group about like what it means to be a Spider-Man. Like, they're all talking about their different stories. But
the color palette they use, I know we were talking today about with Elizabeth, and I'm like, I look at often when I see a movie, I look at the structural stuff, the way they made the movie, and the way they communicate things visually, and the scenes with Gwen and her dad.
Yes,
like it's one, they changed the art style of the characters a number of times within the one scene, and then they changed the background is all pink and green watercolor.
Well, that comes straight from the comics. The Spider-Gwen comics are drawn and painted like that.
Yeah.
When I noticed that, I was like, wow, I'm like someone's a fan, and they've really made sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good.
And then there's when the Spot gets into the collider.
Oh, the Spot. We haven't even talked about him.
Yeah.
He's so good. That first fight in the convenience store is so funny. Yeah.
And he's like, so funny. Well, he's a joke of a character.
Yeah.
Right at the start, he's like, I'm your arch nemesis. And Miles was like, no, you're not.
Who are you again?
Yeah, I'm your arch nemesis. Yeah. Everyone needs an arch nemesis. He's like, you're just a joke.
Yeah. And now how he turns quite dark towards the end is quite interesting.
Yeah.
But it's
but the art style that they change when he gets into the collider and he becomes this, beast.
Yeah.
They change the art style again. It's like they've just the way they put this movie together was fantastic. So,
and I don't know if you heard this, but they said that, like, depending, like, they never announced it, and then people started to pick up on it because they went to the movie a few times. Depending on which theater you went to in America, the art styles and version of films were slightly different.
Oh, wow.
So, like, and I think they said, like, I haven't watched it since I bought it, but apparently, like, there's a very comprehensive version where you can see all the different art styles. But they made it so that, like, depending on where you were in the world, you would see a slightly different version of Spider-Verse, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
So that would definitely make my top 5.
Yeah. Cool. Lovely.
What about you? What was high on your list?
Yeah, what's a good one?
I really liked Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
Volume 3. That would go high on my little list there.
Marvel's crown jewel of 2023.
It was so good. And sort of feel like it really sort of tied in a lot of loose ends with the storyline. It was really interesting to sort of, get a feel of what was happening with Rocket, because I always was quite, what's his story? So knowing his background and how that all ties in with, the high revolutionary character in the movie, and how he wanted this perfect race, and yet, here we were making hurting all these animals. And it's interesting to see how Rocket's also evolved over, and actually to see all the characters evolve over time as individuals and as a collective family, as a sense, and then seeing how they all sort of branch off and do whatever they do after the movie finishes. So I really liked it because I thought it's a movie about rebuilding relationships and healing from trauma from the past. If you want to get really, really,
well, it is.
It is. That's like Tina said to me, she goes, "That's the most traumatic film I've seen this year. I will not watch it again."
Oh, yeah.
Like and it is like, and it's funny, like the context it adds. Like if you think back to the first Guardians of the Galaxy film, where like you see, like Rocket has these little lines, little throwaway lines. They don't mean too much in the first film, but it's like there ain't nothing out there like me but me.
Yeah.
And what you don't know is they're like, oh, there were others.
Yes.
But there's nothing left, and you see like him change. He's got like the holes in his back, and like the bit where he's drunk at in nowhere, and he's like he's got the gun out because everyone's making fun of him and stuff.
Yeah.
In the first one, like, oh, that is a little bit heartbreaking, but like he's he's a bit of a jerk as well. So you probably, and then you watch this film, you're like, oh my goodness, like everything he's ever done is justified. Like
it's sort of like he started out as a sarcastic, mean, hard, like not criminal, but just
I'd say criminal. Yeah, him and Groot were holding up train cars and
like,
stuff.
Yeah, but he was always like getting the legs off different people and like eyes and stuff. But it's really interesting to see how finding out what his background story was and what he lost his 3 other best friends and then managed to escape and then find his family with the Guardians of the Galaxy. But it's interesting to just peel back all those layers and stuff, and then realizing that all he really wanted was peace. He didn't want. He's helping out all the animals to like release all the animals from the prison that they were. With this high revolutionary character trying to do everything. But so I really like that. I also really liked Nebula's character. I didn't think I would actually like her. I didn't quite understand what her whole thing
She's
was.
always been one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I've always liked Nebula,
Yeah. So I just thought it's interesting to watch her grow and expand as well. And like she's sort of come from a very hard, she with Thanos and everything, being the daughter of Thanos and I thought that was interesting. And then finally sort of becoming kind of the leader of Nowhere at the end of the film was quite good. And then Drax, actually was like David and I discussed before the movie started. We were like, okay, who's going to die in this movie?
Drax, were you saying Drax was going to die? That's what I thought as well.
Convinced Drax was going to be the one that was off.
There was no more story for him. His arc was done. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny you said that because I remember like before the movie, like was in downtown, it goes, "Do you think Drax is going to die?" I'm like, Drax is dying. We might lose Nebula as well. I'm like, we're going to lose a few, and I'm like, and good, we need stakes. By the end of that movie, I was so happy they made the choice not to kill anyone off.
Yeah.
Like, there's that brief moment where you think Star-Lord's going to die, and I was like, and I remember saying to Tim, like, oh, this feels cheap, but okay, like, if they had to kill someone, I guess it makes sense. And then when they said, I was like, I'm so glad they kept everyone alive.
Yeah.
Like, and like, I don't know why I wanted characters to die, but like, you always feel that need to have stakes. But I was like, you know what? After the emotional roller coaster we've been through, I'm really glad it worked out for everyone.
Even like Adam Warlock's character, like
so cool.
He was fabulous, and the fact that he was like, it was like for him it was redemption. Like he was like because he was just all about I'm going to kill you all, and he could have quite easily done that with all of them, but they kept fighting back against him, and they're trying to say no, we want to give you another chance, and then he went and saved Star-Lord anyway towards the end. So that was all that.
That hallway fight, by the way, maybe one of the greatest fight scenes in a Marvel film. Like,
Isn't it?
That was really well done.
Amazing.
I didn't think they gave Adam Warlock enough to do in this movie, but I'm happy that they've introduced him into the world. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
He was like his infant stage anyway, so it's like he's not a fully developed character yet. I'm happy with it. I'm
hoping like now that we've got Fantastic Four, I really want like some Adam Warlock Silver Surfer crossover.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to see. Like, let's go really cosmic and, like, get some of the weird characters.
I think so.
I loved High Evolutionary. I thought he was one of the best villains we've had in a long time.
Great villain.
And, without going too dark, now with, the firing of Jonathan Majors and the cancelling of Kang, why couldn't he just be a variant of Kang?
Yeah.
He didn't get killed at the end of the movie. Like, maybe he's just another version of Kang.
Yeah.
And, like, he's, like, and, all respect to Jonathan Majors as a performer, his Kang was fine.
Yes.
Like he wasn't the most menacing I've seen, but Chuck Waddy as High Evolution, I'm like, gee, this guy's a real badass.
I know. It kind of makes you sort of jitter in your seats there.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's crossed their mind.
Yeah.
So
instead of recast, like you couldn't recast Marvel recast before, but you've got a really good villain who's still alive, and you could easily retcon it, and just turns out he's a variant. Like,
Yeah. Well, I definitely see some correlation between those characters.
Yeah.
But I really liked how, and then Gamora moving into her role with the Ravagers and finding. I thought the whole movie was really, really.
Mantis was a lot more mature and a lot more, a lot more of a motherly figure in this, or even not a motherly figure, but a sister.
Yeah. Well, thank goodness for the Christmas special. Like if you didn't watch the Christmas special, like that does fill in some gaps. I'm so glad that came out beforehand, and we got to see Mantis do something.
Yes.
Because I've always liked her. Like, I like her in Guardians too. I like her in the Avengers film, but she's very much because she's an empath.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get to see her as a fighter too much, but then, like, from the holiday special forward, we just see a bit more of her. And Pom Clemente is such a great actress and so funny. Like, I just want to see more of her doing stuff. So.
I mean, I do love her relationship with Drax. I mean, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Like, that's the best. And, like, really, Nebula, Drax, and Mantis are just the three of them are hilarious.
Yeah.
But, no, it was really good. I mean, yeah, it's good to see Mantis, like, she's sort of going on this journey of discovering who she is because, you know, being under the influence of Peter Quill's dad for so long, she sort of never knew what, and being an empath.
Yeah.
You know what that's like. So and Groot as well. And then Groot
Swamp Thing Groot with his wings.
Didn't he say like I love you or something like that at the end? And I thought that was really interesting because for so long, even like Gamora couldn't understand what he was saying during the movie. But then towards the end it was like it didn't matter because all we can hear is I am Groot, but he's actually communicating, and I thought there's a good evolution. So yeah.
Well, James Gunn came out and said, and he goes, the line is I am Groot. That's what he says. But because we've now been through so many movies with Groot, we now understand what he says.
Understand.
So he's still saying I am Groot, but because he's an audience that spent this time with him, we now can understand him, which I was like, that's a genius. I can't wait to see what he does with DC because, like, he just gets it. Like,
he's just fantastic. Yeah. So that's definitely one of my
definitely
top
on my top 5.
I haven't looked at my list yet, but I think he'll probably be up there.
Yeah. Now, I want to talk about one that I don't think is in your top 5, and it probably just missed out for me because we've got some things to talk about.
Oh, I love things to talk about.
I want to talk about Barbie.
Yes. I will say this. I haven't looked at my list yet. Probably not in my top 5 either.
Okay.
I liked it a lot, but I think, you know, with any movie phenomenon, everyone's like, it's the best film of the year, and if you don't agree, so then you're not a feminist. It's like, okay, let's take a step back. Like, you can like a film and it not be a top 5 film for you. It cannot be the best one. Like, but anyway, I enjoyed it a lot. My cinematic experience wasn't great. We went to the theater and, like, there was a woman on her phone throughout the movie and there were kids behind us. Like, and the woman next to us didn't receive a call. She made a call in the cinema. Like, it wasn't the best experience, but I really enjoyed it. I do own it on physical, and I will watch it again. So I haven't got back to it yet. So I really did enjoy it, but I don't know if it's a top 5 film. But yeah, let's talk about Barbie.
Well, you go first.
Okay, so here's what I liked about the movie. I liked the message.
Yes.
I liked because, and I was, you know, as Liz and I were talking about it, you know, Greta Gerwig makes films from a feminist perspective, right? Lady Bird was one, Little Women was another. She, you know, she has a female lens, and that's how she wants to communicate her art in that way. And that, to me, that's why the movie succeeds, because, you know, she presents a female perspective. She understands that, you know, it's a male-dominated world, and she communicates that really clearly, and she flips it. You know, she says, what would it be like if it was a female-dominated world? And the men were not as powerful. So I think that comes through really, really clearly. I just think it's a fun film. I think it communicates a message that the filmmaker wants, but it does it in a really fun and cheeky and funny and light way. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every bit of it. It's not in my top 5, but I really enjoyed it. So.
I think the point of the film, I was talking to Tina about this because there's a moment in the film that stuck with both of us that we were like, and I'll talk about it in a second. And Tina felt like it was misguided, and I said to her, no, I don't think I don't think the purpose of this film is to give you an answer. I think the purpose of this film is to start a conversation. And the moment is when the Kens have taken over Barbie Land. We want the Barbies to reunite and take their land back. And it's like, yes, this is amazing. But what if it was the other way around? What if it was Ken land and the Barbies took over? Would we want the Kens to take it back? We'd be like, oh, no, they did overthrow it. And it's this weird thing. And again, look, I'm not saying there's a right. I'm not saying that's wrong. It's a conversation. It's starting a conversation. And the idea of equality and feminism and the true message of the film and what they do kind of get towards the end. Should there be a Barbie land? Should there be a Ken land? Or should they be able to find this place in the middle where it's a shared land. And that's, I think, the point of the film is to start that conversation. I don't think, because Barbie, spoiler alert, Barbie doesn't stick around in Barbie land. She's like, you know what? This is all too much for me. I want a life where I can make my own choices.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I think, I could be wrong. Maybe Greta Gerwig's listening to this. I know she loves the show. And she's like, James, you really missed the point of this. I don't know. But I think it's really interesting because if you flipped it and the Kens came back and they were tricking the Barbies and seducing them to take Barbie Land back away from, or Ken Land back from them, you probably wouldn't be a fan of that. You'd be like, oh, this is dicey. Why are they using sex to control these women and stuff like that? But because you do live in a male-dominated society, we're all cool with it. Like, yes, girl power. But I think there's a much larger conversation inside this PG film that's been marketed towards tweens.
I know.
Again, I'm not saying there's a right or a wrong, and I'm not saying I have the answer. I think the whole point is let's start having a conversation about society in general.
And I agree with that in many respects too. I agree with what both of you said. It's interesting because we watched it with Isabella as well. And I had really mixed feelings about it. And I was really uncertain. I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And so this coming from an actual female perspective as well.
I think we're done now.
We'll just cut it right now. It did make me feel unsettled in some ways. The pros of this movie is, agree with you, I think the cinematography is phenomenal, really convincing. I think the choice of actors were perfectly cast. Ryan Gosling was fantastic. Yeah. Margot Robbie was brilliant and looked like Barbie, but even her getting out of bed and that sort of stiff hand and everything, the Barbie cars. Apparently, Isabella told me that they actually almost ran out of pink paint in all of it.
I heard that.
Paint everything pink.
Can I just pick up Helen Mirren, who plays a narrator in this movie? At one stage breaks the fourth wall. Well, not really doesn't break the fourth wall, but says, as a narrator, halfway through the movie, she says something like to the effect of, now, if you wanted to choose somebody to represent Barbie, just saying Margot Robbie would be the perfect choice. She says something like that.
I mean, it's so clever in so many ways. And I didn't know much about the director or the producer of the movie, but when David explained to me, we had a really long conversation. I'm talking 45 minutes after this movie was finished. We were sitting
I think that's the point. I think that's the secret of Barbie. I think that's why it's so good. I feel like I need to backtrack that everything I was bringing up is not a negative. I think it's great that it's asking you to think about it. If you watch Barbie and you enjoy it for what it is, and that's it, that's great. But I think if you watch it and you're like, I actually have questions I want to talk about this more, that's the secret beauty behind this movie.
Absolutely.
Is that there's a lot more going on with the surface.
And I love the message, the pro-feminist arguments and all of that. What's her name? America Ferrera's character in the movie. And it was interesting, the dynamic between the daughter and the mother and how Barbie came into all of that. So I understand all of that. But the parts that I didn't like is I just felt like the first half of the movie was interesting but then I found that the second half, it's quite a long movie as well, and they're trying to sort of stuff in, and as you said before, they're trying to tie in all of what was happening. We had the Mattel board of directors in there, where they were sort of going into Barbie Land and then coming back out of Barbie Land, and I found that a bit messy and chaotic towards the end.
I will say this, just on what you mentioned, there is no better visual representation of what this movie is about than when Barbie opens the door to the headquarters of Barbie and it's full of men. No one says a thing. You just open the door and you're like, I get it.
Yes.
I get it.
Yeah, so I think I can appreciate within the confines of the movie that they can't sort of feeling because Barbie was created in 1959, to fit in everything that possibly, all the arguments about Barbie and all of that into this one movie is really difficult, and also making it adult, adult content, because there are other Barbie movies, but they're for kids. But I just was so I understood within the whole franchise of Barbie and everything, but I just was it just left me feeling a little bit uncertain of what the actual message of the movie was. And my main point was by the end of the film, really nothing of either worlds have changed. I personally think so.
That is the point.
Yes. So okay, well, that's good because I was like going, am I getting this? Like I was kind of
I
hoping
think
for
like
like
I think it's like the idea of the uphill struggle of trying to make things right, and like I said, the way that Barbie faces all her problems is like, I'm just gonna leave. I'm gonna join the real world, and I'm gonna start making my own choices because what's here isn't working.
Fun fact: humans like to do that too.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the bit that we had the biggest debate about is the final line of the movie.
Yeah.
Which is
when she goes to find, when she goes up to make a doctor's appointment to see a gynecologist, and I was like, why?
Yeah.
And then for me, this is where I took it because I was like, so women are defined by their sexuality then, is it? Like, is that what the movie is trying to tell us, that you're not a real woman if you don't see a gynecologist? Or like, it's just interesting how, it just to me didn't sit right. But I didn't think that was the strongest way to end the movie by sort of going, I need to go. I just thought that was a very, here we go, but very patriarchal way of looking at it in a way. I know women have their bits and men have their bits, but I just thought in this day and age when we're talking,
well, we have different.
Here I'm getting very political now, but it does stir those political.
This. I don't think you can watch this film and talk about without bringing up gender.
Gender.
It's really, it's a really important.
Yeah, I just thought it was very odd. That part I just didn't.
I'd forgotten about that actually. That was the way it ended. Yeah,
I didn't mind the fact that they couldn't work out that that nothing was really going to change because it's bigger than the movie. Like the whole idea of all of this is bigger than the movie. And I agree with you. It does bring up, the ability to talk about things. But I thought that left me a little bit with I didn't like it. I just thought that's not the what. Like, but then David, you were arguing that if you become a real human, don't you want to know about how your bits work and what the womb does and all
that was my perspective on it because throughout the movie they were talking about we don't have genitals, we just got plastic, like that's mentioned a number of times in the movie, and now she's in the human world, and is that what is she discovering what it means to be a human now? So I don't know, I wasn't quite convinced either. I was 100% convinced that was the best way to finish the movie.
But can I also say, sorry to interrupt, but Isabella pointed something interesting out too, and we were having a discussion, and she's like,
should we bring her on?
We should bring her on. And she said, Mum, don't you think that's a way of Greta being a bit of tongue-in-cheek? Like, maybe it's the case of we need to talk about this as well and make it clear that, yes, women come in all different types of forms and stuff. And so, and maybe she's like, maybe that's her sort of going, but we're talking about how, I don't know, do men sort of have to determine what a Barbie looks like or all that sorts of things. So, I just...
Well, here's a thought, and this might be opening up a whole separate can of worms, but, I think it's part of the conversation if we think of someone who's transitioning into a woman, which Barbie is doing. Like, if you want to break it down, technically she is transitioning from plastic to woman. If you are making the choice to transition, if you are internally, if you are your heart and soul a woman, don't you want the outside to match the inside? And maybe that's... I don't know. I don't know. I don't know whether the trans conversation is what they're aiming for here, but if you want to break it down into really simple terms, I guess technically you could say she is transitioning into a woman in some way. And if that, my understanding, again, I know I don't know very many trans people. I'm trying to be very respectful of that, but maybe is that part of it? It's she's well, now that I'm becoming a woman, I want the outside to match with the inside. I've always been a woman. I've been the woman. I've been Barbie. Now I want to be, I want to be a real woman, and the way that I identify a woman is to make this. I don't know. Maybe that's too philosophical for Barbie, but it's a pretty philosophical movie.
It is. It's going to get studied as a text response. Here's my teacher hat on. It's going to get studied as a text. You watch.
Also, the opening of that flick is great. That opening scene made me cry so hard. Just the history of Barbie and you can be anything.
You can be anything, exactly.
And I think it probably would have made me cry 4 years ago, but now having become a parent of a daughter, I'm like, she can be anything.
Yeah.
Right now, she's the one who watches Mario all the time.
Well,
so that was a bit deep, guys. But no,
I think that movie begs that conversation. I think, I don't think any other version of Barbie movie would have sufficed. I think you needed Barbie to be that movie.
Yeah. So
And interesting to see if they continue with the franchise. If it is a franchise, is it standalone? What's going to happen?
Well, I mean, I know they were announcing other like movies based on Mattel toys, but like, how do you link Barbie to anything?
Yeah.
Like, if you follow up with like, I mean, I know it's not that, but like Transformers, it's like,
Oh, we'll come back to Transformers later. Let's come back to
that CGI gorilla bot, cool. Can't wait.
Can we talk about our top movies?
yes,
Our favourites.
our favourites.
jump into it.
Can you do it?
Yeah.
So my favourites for this year, and I'm going to say in no particular order, but these are my top three that I really can't split, and you can just jump in whenever you would.
Sure.
But I have three. So I have Past Lives.
I've heard lots about it. I haven't seen it, but
this
it
is
looks.
also my top. Yep.
Oppenheimer.
Yep.
And one that I saw just today, The Creator.
Okay.
I've started The Creator. I haven't finished it yet.
Yeah.
I'm only 15 minutes in.
So they're the top three. Now you've seen Past Lives and you've seen
Oppenheimer, but my other one is American Symphony.
I haven't seen that one either.
Oh, wow.
I haven't even heard of that one.
It's phenomenal. That's actually, I reckon, maybe number one.
We'll tell
but Past Lives is so American Symphony is about the story. It's a documentary about John Batiste, who's like this amazing musician, composer, writer. He was on the Stephen Colbert
The Tonight Show.
Yeah. And he was just like, he had a band and he's just this amazing pianist as well. Like it's phenomenal.
The Late Show. Yeah.
And he's African American. He's originally from New Orleans, and he studied at a prestigious university. I think so. Sorry, I don't know 100%. Anyway, it's about the story of him. He just recently, like 2021, won Album of the Year.
Grammy.
He won 5 Grammys.
Wow.
All in that time, his wife was battling leukemia.
Okay.
So his wife is Salika, and they're both quite young. They're in their 30s, I think. And
oh wow! I was assuming he was going to be much older.
He's so talented. Anyway, so she's battling leukemia at the same time as he's winning all these accolades and all of these awards, and it's just they're very arty people, but just with a lot of heart, and it's also quite a poignant time because, like, in the time he's winning all of these accolades, she's going through leukemia, and she was actually a writer, and she couldn't, for some reason, she was finding it difficult to write, so she started painting. So she's doing these amazing paintings as she's in hospital trying to fight this illness, which is actually she has to continue doing the treatment. It's indefinite, so she's going to have to deal with all of the chemotherapy and stuff. And it's just, I could not find two more beautiful people who you just wish the world would be so much like, they sort of give a lightness to something that's so difficult and challenging for them to go through. And this is a beautiful.
And all the whole film, during the whole film, then the title of the film is American Symphony, which is John Batiste's composition, his show that he's going to put on for a live audience in New York. So he's in the midst of trying to put this incredible symphony together with the whole orchestra and all that sort of stuff, while trying to balance his home life with his wife, who's very sick, and and then he's on stage winning Grammys, and then he's on the Late Show, and he's so it's an extraordinary movie.
Okay.
Right? And so now Salika,
is it on Prime or something?
I think so.
Or
it feels like
Disney, maybe.
Disney Plus might have it. Disney Plus do get some interesting things.
It's definitely not
or
Netflix.
No, it might be Disney.
Let me have a look. American Symphony. I hadn't even heard of it.
Yeah, it's outstanding.
It's quite like, and the thing is, it's real. Like, it's real life, and I mean, these people are just fantastic. They're just there's probably not much more to say about that, but it's just profound movie.
It says it is on Netflix, actually.
On Netflix.
There you go.
And unforgettable. Yeah, it's just amazing to watch. He's so talented. Like, and I'm not normally a music lover. I've heard of him in the past. I've seen him on like the Late Show and thought, very talented. But I really didn't realise just how much what was happening in their lives and stuff, and just really interesting to see them overcome the obstacles that they've had to go through. So,
no, it's a mesmerising movie.
Wow.
It's a terrific documentary, and definitely one of the best I've seen.
I haven't seen a good heartfelt doc in a while, so
no, this is excellent.
Yeah, okay,
really excellent
nice.
I've seen The Creator, and I know you've just started it.
Yeah, I'm apparently about 15 minutes in, but so the bit I've seen is he's woken up and the bomb's gone off and he's missing an arm, and what I understand, his wife died, but then she's there as AI or something. So I don't really know what's going on yet. But tell you what, hell of a first 15 minutes. I am in.
So the central premise is you've seen man makes AI. They first make robots. The robots become slaves in a sense. The robots do a better job than the humans at the jobs. Then they make what they call simulants, which is you can replicate your face, or you can sell your likeness to the company, and then they make a robot AI with your likeness. So there's sort of levels of AI, and so it demonstrates how it started, how the robots basically took over. That the humans rebelled against the AI.
Sounds like the Matrix.
And it gets presented as if the AI detonate a nuclear weapon in LA. And the Americans ban the use of AI in the United States, but in Asia...
I was going to say, in China. I think the bit I saw was in China it's still allowed.
Yeah, so they reference it, it's New Asia. Now, New Asia in the film is presented like Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
It's not China, it's not Japan, it's sort of like a Southeast Asian. And so they support AI. So they're very supportive of AI. And then the Americans are at war with... They don't want to go to war with New Asia.
Yeah.
They're going to war with AI.
I remember there's a line in the start where they're like, we've got no problem with China or New Asia. We've got a problem with AI, so we're we'll keep our fight with them.
Yeah.
But the trailer, from what I understand, there's a child, but it's not actually a child, it's an AI child, and it felt very much like Last of Us, or kind of a lone wolf and cubs type thing.
So it's a Gareth Edwards film.
Yes, who did Godzilla?
Did he do Rogue One?
He did do Rogue One.
So there's.
I always get him confused with Gareth Evans, who did The Raid and some Indonesian films. Yeah.
So it's very much like, if you liked Rogue One, you'll like this movie. In fact, I think this is a better movie than Rogue One. It's very Star Wars in its setting.
Star Wars
like that. The battle scenes are very much like Rogue One. It's about seeking lost, for me. This is what I took away from it. It's about seeking lost love. It's about questioning our choices as humans. It's got some religious undertones to it, about having a savior, and it's about family and connecting to family, and so the biggest question of all is, it presents a viable near future scenarios where we've created these robots, this AI that does a better job of doing what we do. So we can be easily replaced by it. So how do we respond to that? And this is a movie that talks about how do we respond to this threat to our humanity. Yeah.
And the ethics that come with that.
Yeah. Well, I loved the trailer. I sat there, I saw the trailer. I can't remember what it seemed time. I was like, I've never heard of this film, but this looks incredible. I just love the idea of it. It looks awesome. It was really nice to see Chloe Zhao pop up. I hadn't seen her since Eternals. I was like, great. I love Chloe Zhao.
And Gemma Chan is...
That's who I mean. Gemma Chan. Chloe Zhao is the director. I'm so sorry. Yes, Gemma Chan.
John David Washington.
Yeah. Denzel's son.
Yeah. Is Joshua. He plays the character of Joshua. But the star of the movie is the child, who's Madeline Young Boyles. It's her first feature film.
I love
She's
that.
Exceptional. Unbelievable.
We were talking about this the other day. We only caught it about a week ago, and I was saying to you, the current generation of young actors, and I don't mean your kids in their 20s, your Mia Goths, your Anya Taylor-Joys. I'm talking about the kids. I'm talking about your McKenna Graces, these kids who are barely 10 years old and are just outperforming people who've been doing it for 60 years. It's crazy that there's a slew of talent we're seeing. So I'm very excited to see.
Please see The Creator. It's an excellent film.
It's I started watching it. I want to watch it. There are a few more I want to watch before I can compile my list for 2023, and that's definitely one that's been on the list to watch. So,
Go on.
I was going to say, what were you going to say?
No, please.
Well, I just thought that goes into you're talking about young actors. Well, we watched Past Lives, and that was another one that we would say would be one of our top tier movies, because that has some amazing actors in there, and the children in that. I don't know if you've heard of that movie. I've
heard of it. It's getting a lot of awards buzz.
Yeah.
I just haven't had a chance to see where it is. It's on any of my streaming services. So
yeah. So.
Without spoiling.
Yeah. So it's basically about a relationship.
Korean film, is it?
Yeah.
Korea is. They've been doing it for decades. Like when Parasite people came out, Parasite came out, everyone was like, "Oh my god, Korea makes great films." It's like they've been doing it for a long time. Yeah. It's just now we're getting a spotlight on it.
It's nice to have that sort of infiltrate. It seems like what other people can create, and
it feels to me, from what I've heard of Past Lives, it feels thematically or spiritually it's a lot like Shoplifters. I don't know if you saw The Shoplifters.
No, I haven't seen it.
Wonderful Korean film about a poor family, and they're not actually they're a family, but I don't think they're all related. They just kind of take in wayward children and stuff, and they have to go around and they have to shoplift to survive. But it's all about the idea of just being a family, and there's this beautiful moment where there's this girl they've taken in, and she's got marks on her, and the dad says to her, "Those marks there, that's not what love looks like." This, and just makes me cry. It's so beautiful. But it's a wonderful movie. I don't know if it was got any award buzz when it came out. I think it was 2016. But Korea has been making great films for a long, long time, and that's just another one. It sounds like Past Lives thematically is quite similar to Shoplifters, which is wonderful.
Well, it's just toys with the idea of these two kids grew up together in Korea, and then the girl moves away, but the boy stays in Korea, and she moves to the US with her family, and then they reconnect over seems to be every 12 years. They reconnect.
It's 12 years. Yeah.
So, and then it's just about what's happening in their lives at that point in time. Anyway, it is very much it's kind of a love story, but it's complicated. And what I found really refreshing about it was unlike, it's not got the Hollywood. I don't want to say anymore, do I?
No, but
David,
it's still in theaters, so for the audience,
so I don't want to say anything more. But it's a really, if you sort of have your mind on whether to watch it or not, it really it doesn't almost. What am I trying to say? It doesn't need a lot of language in order to portray the message of what it needs to say. So you really appreciate there's some strong moments where the actors don't even say anything and they just look at each other, because there is a bit of a language barrier there.
That's exactly what I've written.
Is that what you were going to say?
Exactly. So much of this movie, most of it's in Korean. 90% of it, would you say, is in
so you
Korean?
have to put the subtitles on.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But
I am a big fan of Korean cinema. If you want some good Korean movies, I'll give you some recommendations after the show.
It's an accident. Yeah. So, but a lot of the movie is communicated even just without words. Isn't it? We picked up. It's the glances, it's the smiles, it's the posture.
It's the sitting with the silence. It was really, really interesting.
There's a lot of tension between them but they don't touch each other.
Yeah.
No. It's not what you expect it to be. That's basically. I don't want, without giving too much away.
And it's centered around this concept that they present in the movie called Inyun, which is a Korean idea that there's people are fated to be together. So the idea that because of their past lives and also what might happen in their future lives, that there's this providence, this fate that the interactions they've had in past lives have brought them together in this life. You connected with that, didn't you?
I really did connect with that. And I just thought the acting was fantastic, just brilliant. It's a beautiful film.
It is, as I said, it's hard to it's going to be up there for film of the year. Definitely. It's
getting a lot of awards buzz, people are doing. And I'm glad that, I haven't watched the Oscars since before COVID. At a certain point where I was like, okay, so a bunch of artsy fartsy films that no one cares about are gonna win. And I like everything. I'll watch anything. but I was just like, we need to like let's mix it up. And when Parasite won, or even when Parasite got a nomination, I was like, all right, I guess things are kind of changing. That's good. Like, let's get a few more in there. Because there's so many wonderful. Like, look, 200, 300 films that release every year. Like, not everything get nominated, but like, let's have the same like 3 people with us. So like, the World War II film got nominated again. Cool. Like, you know.
Yeah.
What do they say? Like, if you want Oscar gold, like you've got to go, like just go. It's World War II, like that's the key.
Yeah. Well, interesting that because we were talking about one of the biggest films that was 2023, which was Oppenheimer.
I'd forgotten about that. Yeah.
And like that one was a hard one to watch for me.
Okay.
At times, a couple of reasons. I didn't always know, like obviously I know about like Hiroshima and the terrible bombings that happened there. Didn't know much about the backstory of like Robert Oppenheimer and particularly the political part that was all structured around it because I found that a little bit hard. Yeah, so I was doing a lot of sort of Wikipedia and research as the movie was going. I was pausing it, just trying to understand because that was a whole web of
conspiracy and intrigue
and stuff.
Well, I remember when I saw it, I think my review was, I'm like, Chris Nolan's taken a biopic and shot it like an action film. And that's like, because it's very fast paced and there's quick cuts and there's a lot of stuff, but it's not an action film. Like it is. Yeah. It's a really interesting portrayal. And my favorite part, because I know everyone was like, just get like the bomb scene. My favorite part of the movie is the last hour.
Yeah.
That's to me is when they're tying everything with the investigation. Emily Blunt has that wonderful monologue, and she puts the guy in his place. Yeah, the whole Robert Downey Jr. story, like that whole last hour to me, I think is the best part of the movie for me. Like that's where it really gets exciting.
Mm-hmm. I agree. There's so much tension in this movie, like, isn't it? You're right. I think that's the best description. It's filmed like an action movie, but it's not at all.
Yeah, I think the part I despised the most was when Gary Oldman as Truman, waves a little hanky at him and says, like, wipe up your tears. Like, no one cares about the fact that you feel responsible for dropping the bomb. I made the decision. Like, I just felt like devastated because after everything that had happened, and I just thought, oh God, I hate it. I kind of hated that moment, but I was also like, that's a really important part to add to the film, wasn't it?
Yeah, he did. He basically said, I'm the one that dropped it.
Yeah.
And
it's just devastating.
And it is. I was probably like you. I had no idea that there was this connection to the Communist Party and that he had to basically sit in front of this panel to justify that he should be continuing in the program. And in the end, they said, well, we think you're loyal to the United States, but maybe you're not appropriate to continue to hold our secrets. So he's loyal, but he's not.
And that's because of the Strauss character as well. He's trying to
so
it's like littered. I mean, littered with stars. You don't even
I didn't even know Robert Downey Jr. was
what about Josh Hartnett? Teen Hart from Josh Hartnett shows up. Jason Clarke is I feel like the underrated villain of the piece. Like him as the interrogator. You got Florence Pugh. You got
who played that part perfectly.
Yeah, she did so well.
She presented that bipolar kind of personality really well. So,
I loved Albert Einstein as well. That guy did. I'm not sure what the actor's name.
It was Tom Conti, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was in Paddington too. I recognised him. That was
because when I first saw it, I was like, is that Sylvester McCoy? Like that's what I thought it was initially, like from Doctor Who and from The Hobbit and stuff. But no, it's Tom Conti.
David Dastmalchian's in it.
That's right. He's great. He was in so much last year. He was he was the blob in Ant-Man as well. Like, I love Dastmalchian. He's great actor.
He's the guy that did Queen.
Rami Malek?
Oh, Rami Malek.
He was in it. I was just so shocked. David's like, do you know this Robert Downey Jr.? I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What? And then I'm like, oh yeah, of course, yeah, just the
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon,
so good.
yeah. Just a cast, a fantastic cast.
We did a whole episode on Chris Nolan films after Oppenheimer came out. I sat down with Nick and Maddie, and my initial feeling of the film, and still now, is that it's easily in Nolan's top 3. Like it's just, it's pretty flawless. Like I couldn't really I can't really pick it apart. Like
yeah. It's actually it's an interesting conversation. Probably the one that the top one for me from a Nolan perspective.
Interstellar?
Well, I don't know.
The Dark Knight. Yeah, like those are my 3. Interstellar, Dark Knight, Oppenheimer. Like they're all up there.
Yeah. Mementos.
Yeah.
I think I really like. It's probably not his best, but Memento. Tenet's not my favourite. But
and there are moments of Interstellar in this movie, like when he's dreaming of the stars and the explosions. I'm like, this feels like Interstellar. Like,
I liked all those little moments where it was like everyone's clapping and he just phases out. I can't deal with this, and there's like the flaky skin coming off the woman's face and stepping on a corpse. It's quite interesting to see how much that affected him. Well, it did affect him, yeah. So
he's made so many brilliant movies.
Yeah, isn't he? I know, yeah.
Nolan or Cillian Murphy or both?
Cillian Murphy's amazing.
Well, Nolan.
Yeah.
Insomnia.
I haven't seen Insomnia. I think it's one of the only ones I haven't seen. Pacino and Robin Williams, isn't it? Like, yeah. Can't get it at the moment. That's why I haven't watched it, because it's not available. But it's on my. It's a long desired film to watch. But Prestige, like
The Prestige. Yeah.
That's the one we always go. Well, like, how come no one talks about The Prestige? It's brilliant. He doesn't have a bad one. Like his weakest one for me is probably Dark Knight Rises. Like otherwise, maybe Tenet. Like Tenet, I got to watch again. But
I think they're probably our best films.
Yeah, I also wanted to make mention Saltburn as well.
Oh yeah, let's talk about the old bathwater.
Oh my god. No, this is
Barry bathwater.
I missed it. I forgot to mention it before, but this isn't in our top tier.
Really? I heard this was your favourite movie.
No, I found it really hard to watch that. It really kind of grossed me out. And I'm not a prude, but oh my god. Or like the scene where he's like, with all the blood, menstrual blood.
Yeah.
That was weird. The grave. But it was just interesting to watch the obsession he had with the family. And
I said it was a horror film because the last 5 minutes there's a monster in frame constantly.
I was like, oh, gee, we're getting a lot.
They made a joke about it earlier. They're like the point in
One-eyed monster.
There's a point in the film early where he walks around naked, so I was like, oh, now we get it. And I'm like, that was a nice line for Barry. And then I was like, oh. He backed it up. He backed it up while dancing to Sophie Ellis-Bextor. Like, never heard that song the same again.
Oh, never hear that. That's right. I'm like, I've got to turn that off now.
The only way that scene would have been better is if it was Jump, the song from Love Actually that Hugh Grant dances to. But
it's not a horror film. It's a thriller, but it's also it's a psychological thriller.
Yeah,
this guy, what a brilliant actor he is.
He's so good.
And I was reading up about him. He's an orphan.
Oh, really?
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Like he was in foster homes and stuff, and then just started. I had no idea. And has gone on to basically play orphans in most movies. Actually, like Killing of a Sacred Deer. There's this weird parental, that's a weird film. He just makes weird films.
He does quite well in those films. He's got this presence about him that's just. This was like very psycho though, wasn't it? Like you're sort of sitting there and you're like, I don't know where this is going to go, and the twists were you just didn't expect it. I was like, when he was doing stuff in the bathroom, and I'm like, oh, okay, and I thought, he'll just I don't know, do something himself. But no, he gets in the bathtub and then just sucks the water up. I'm like, oh, David, I don't know, man. I found that hard to watch. But
that took you out.
At that moment, I was like, this is not a teen film.
I was thinking, interesting what he's thinking. Like, he's obviously become so obsessed with just, getting the whole family.
The director was saying, I was reading an interview, and she was like, look, it's not a horror film, but he is a vampire.
Yeah.
That, and he even says at one point, and she's like, that's why, not only does he consume a variety of questionable things, but he literally leeches onto the family, consumes them.
Yeah.
And I was talking about this morning, actually, on a show I'm appearing on later in the year, And I was saying, what's interesting is like they should be the villains. Like one of the messages of the film is very much like eat the rich, but they're not bad. Like none of them, like they're like look, they're oblivious.
They're repulsive.
Like, and there's a lot of excess, but they're just oblivious. They just don't understand things. It reminds me of like the Bluths in Arrested Development. Like, how much could banana cost? $10? Like that's. Like Richard E. Grant is wonderful.
He's so good.
Like and just Rosamund Pike is like great in it. I can't remember the guy who plays
the cousin.
The boy that he's in love with. Like
hang on, I've got his name.
Oh, it's like Jacob Elordi.
Yes, that's him.
Yeah, Jacob Elordi. Yeah,
brilliant.
Yeah,
I'd never seen anything before, and then I found out he was the kid from the Kissing Booth. And I was like, oh my god, like this is Twilight all over again. Like he's paid his bills and now he's doing just an incredible performance. People have compared it to Talented Mr. Ripley. I liken it a lot to Parasite as well. And that's the only thing that I would say, like, because people are like, it's the most subversive film of the year. You've never seen anything like it. I'm like, well, I've seen two things like it. But yes, like it is wonderful. But like people get very excited this time. They're like, oh, all these films that no one's ever seen anything like. Well, like there are a couple, but like I've never seen anyone do that to a grave before.
No,
so
it's quirky and unusual, but also you could kind of go, I suppose if you're a little bit of a weirdo, you might be doing something like that. But
it is a great flick. Like I'm just like, if anything, if my one review is, I'm just glad that it exists because I'm glad that someone was like, we need to go weird. We've seen it's been a little bit bland, like it hasn't been weird enough for a while. Let's go weird. Saltburn, enjoy.
Yeah.
What do you call it today?
Saltbush.
Saltbush, that's right.
Oh my god.
No, it's wonderful.
It's not a herb or a plant. Anyway, yes.
All right. Haven't seen Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning yet.
Me either. It's on my list, but I haven't got to it.
Haven't seen Godzilla -1.
No, haven't seen it. It's hard to get to that one.
Yeah. And I haven't seen Killers of the Flower Moon.
I have seen Killers of the Flower Moon. We did a whole episode on it just recently, a couple of weeks ago. It is, I won't spoil it. Look, it's brilliant. It's Scorsese. It's brilliant. It is the bleakest Martin Scorsese film you've ever seen in your life. And it's like, it feels like anti-Scorsese. Like everything you know about Martin Scorsese, he throws out the window for this one. Like, you got Leo DiCaprio in a leading role. Is he likable? Nope. Is he meant to be likable? No. Like at least like in Wolf of Wall Street, he's not meant to be likable, but he's still kind of like he's got a bit of charm.
He's a rogue.
Yeah. Oh, not likable. You're used to like needle drops of popular music. None of that. You're used to fun. None of that. Like it is dour and it is bleak and there's no mystery to it. Like as Scorsese said in an interview, he's like, this movie is not so much a who done it, but a who didn't do it. Like everyone is like on the is a suspect, and I had to leave the cinema. Like it's so emotionally draining. At about the hour and a half point, I was like, I have to step back and get some fresh air for a second because you're just like watching horrible thing after thing happen like in this movie, and it just like drains you. If you can catch it in theaters, I 100% recommend it. But if not, you're on the fence. Wait till streaming, wait till Blu-ray, and that way you can watch it like a series if you need to. So you can take little breaks.
Well, it is released on Apple next week.
Yeah, but it's brilliant. Like it is. So we were talking about it. Yeah, Nick and I, we did a whole episode just about the movies we went and saw it together, and it's the toughest of his films to watch. I think. Like it just
interesting
because there's no levity. There's no levity. Like, there's no jokes. And yeah, like it's just it's based on a true story. And one thing. I don't think this is a spoiler, but if it is, it's a very minor spoiler. One of the focal points of the movie is the creation of the FBI. Okay. Like the case of what happens to the Native Americans in this movie is what was the very first case the FBI ever tackled.
Yeah.
And the investigation set up by Jesse Plemons, and Jesse Plemons, like he's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really good flick, but it is the hardest I have worked in the cinema last year. Like it's an endurance. Yeah,
interesting.
But it's good.
Yeah, so we've had a big year. 2023.
Trying to think if there's anything else that would have come out, but you saw The Killer. I watched
The Killer.
I watched The Killer as well.
Yes,
and that was an anti-Fincher film. That was very different from anything Fincher's done before.
Yeah. I love The Killer.
Yeah.
Yeah. not sure. I'd be interested to see if Liz watches it, what she thinks of it.
Yeah.
It's
What's the sort of genre?
Well, he's an assassin.
Yeah.
Okay, so and he's a meticulous assassin.
Yeah.
So I mean, let's face it. What assassins in movies aren't meticulous? Isn't every assassin in a movie?
Yeah, unless it's a comedy.
Yeah, but he's this so it's really, particularly the first 15, 20 minutes, is him sitting in an abandoned office building. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
talking to himself.
It's a film about an assassin. It is not an action film.
Yeah.
Like it is.
Oh, okay. Like the psychological thing of being an assassin.
It's a lot of narration, a lot of like inner monologue. It's based on a comic book. I didn't realize. Really interesting flick. I watched that one. That was the last film I watched for 2023. Actually, I watched that on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Bit of a drier film than I was expecting to celebrate the New Year with, but it was a great flick as well.
It's an excellent movie. So and then I've just got a whole bunch of anticipated 2024 movies.
Yeah, we didn't talk about any DC stuff. Was there any DC movies you liked in 20?
Well,
I didn't see.
I had mixed opinions about The Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Haven't seen Blue Beetle.
It's really fun. It's fun. Yeah.
Haven't seen Blue Beetle.
Did you see Shazam?
Saw Shazam. Had mixed feelings about Shazam.
Okay.
I haven't seen the first one, so I felt like I had to see the first one.
The first one, I would recommend it.
To understand the characters.
Yeah. Shazam, I like the family aspects to Shazam. The Flash, I enjoyed up to a point. Like I enjoyed the things that threw me out of the Flash was the CGI.
Yeah, the CGI.
I understand that.
Yeah, the CGI is rough. Like, and I know it was a choice. Like, and the more I think about it, I'm like, you know what? It does actually feel like a choice. Like, because there's no way. I've never seen any CGI like that in a modern film, so it feels like it was a choice. It was just the wrong choice.
Yeah. But like I like the story of the Flash.
Yeah.
The actual. I could, I know that you see an actor and you think the actor's playing a character. Don't forget the actor, but you can't watch the Flash without thinking, Ezra Miller.
Interesting, because I was able to suspend it. I found myself. I did lose myself in the film a little bit, but I can understand. I can definitely understand that.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't do, like, you can't do that, I get it. Like, they did some horrible things. Thankfully, it sounds like they're on the mend. They're getting help. Yeah. So that's that's good.
But as a story, as a like it's it is a good movie, but there are just aspects of the movie I was like, it kind of took me out of a few things.
Stand out for me is Sasha Calais as Supergirl. Like, so good. Like, I think my initial review was, I'm like, look, my favorite characters are Flash, Batman, and Supergirl. This movie was made for me. Like, I'm always going to enjoy it.
Well, and the action scenes, don't get me wrong, the action scenes are excellent.
Yeah, all the Zod stuff is so awesome.
It's excellent. It's like that part of it's excellent.
I just love that they were like, oh, remember Man of Steel, the one movie that everyone did like? We're referencing it again, and Flash was there. I'm like, cool, great.
So that was admitted. Parts of it I really liked, and parts of it.
If you were kind of mixed on Shazam and you were kind of mixed on Flash, you'll be mixed on the other two as well.
Okay.
Like, what I would say with Blue Beetle is, like, in terms of the action, it's nothing we haven't seen before. And I think I was talking about this a couple of weeks ago, because we've changed it a lot recently, actually. And I was saying, look, I'm at a point now with superhero films where unless you're going to do something so radically different, I don't really care about the action stuff. Like, give me good story. Like, give me good character development. Give me good family stuff. And one thing I think DC really did succeed in this year, maybe even more so than Marvel, was they really got the family dynamic and the hearts of their stories down a lot better. Like, if not for Guardians, I think I may have actually preferred the DC slate. Like Shazam, like they really lent in that family dynamic. Obviously, like there's the younger brother syndrome now with like Freddy. There's that moment like where oh my god, what's his name? What's Shazam's name? Billy. Billy like is talking to like his adoptive mum, and she's like, "But I am your mum." Like, and just like broke me down. And she's like, "Oh my god, I knew it was coming, but I'm so glad they did it anyway." Flash was all about like that, just him trying to repair his family. Blue Beetle is very much that. Blue Beetle felt very much like Spider-Man by way of Miss Marvel. So again, like I loved all that. George Lopez is in it. I've never been a George Lopez fan. I loved him in it. I thought it was really great. And then Aquaman was just a story about two brothers. Like it was just like, and I loved their dynamic in the first one, but having them be reluctant in like a reluctant buddy cop film together. It was great. Like, and taking half an hour off the runtime, I think, was the right decision. Like, I loved the first Aquaman film. It's 2.5 hours long.
Yeah.
Shaving half an hour off, the film moves a bit quicker. You just talked about how you can't really, like, it's hard to ignore the Ezra Miller stuff. Amber Heard, obviously, in this film as well. I had no problem. I was actually really happy to see her, and I was like, you know what, like, yeah, obviously she did some horrible things, but she did have all of her dirty laundry aired in front of the entire world. Like, maybe cut the girl some slack. Not forgiving anything she did. Like, in any relationship, there's, it's not my job to assess their relationship. I was happy to see her. She was mostly replaced by an octopus, though, to be fair. Like, the third member of the group, for the most part, is the octopus. Like, but when she's on there, it was great. Like, she has some really, like, badass moments where she's using her aquakinesis. There's a really funny joke early on where, like, every time, because Arthur and Mira have a child now, that's in the trailer, it's not a spoiler, and, like, the kid keeps peeing on him, and, like, he finally figures out a way to wrap the nappy, but then she uses her aquakinesis to get the pee on. Like, I was like, great, like, didn't know we were going to do pee jokes in DC movies? I'm here for it. So, look, they're not going to change the world. They're not going to revolutionize the genre. That universe is officially closed, but I thought DC had a decent finish to the universe. There's a lot of fun to be had with those movies, even if they weren't the best of movies.
Yeah.
You said you got some anticipated films.
I've got a lot of anticipated films. So I'm just going to read them all out. I'll start with the big one at the top, which is Deadpool 3.
The only Marvel Cinematic Universe film for the year.
I think it's a good decision.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think time heals some wounds.
And it's going to be, like, by all accounts, based on everything that's been leaked, maybe the biggest Marvel film since Endgame.
Yeah.
Like, at least since No Way Home, there are a lot of returning characters.
Yes.
They've seen the Fantastica on set. We've seen Toad on set. We've seen Sabretooth on set. We've heard that Elektra from Daredevil is coming back.
Ben Affleck.
There's been rumors, and we're talking Jennifer Garner, Elektra. We're not talking Elodie Young, she needs to come back. She's fantastic, but and apparently, like, this film is going to basically merge the Fox universe with the MCU. From what I understand, is that every different Marvel Cinematic Universe we've seen, whether it was Sony or Fox, is now going to be canon. Like, that's the goal with these films, apparently.
Interesting to see what then they do with the Fantastic Four.
I also heard a rumor just this morning, I think it was, that Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds' wife, has a cameo as female Deadpool, Lady Deadpool.
Oh, really?
Get out.
Which I'm like, that's
so good.
Like, she's a great actress. I think she's really underrated. Like, people seem to know her more as his wife than anything else right now, but she's really good. And why not? Like, that's cool.
Yeah,
like,
that's great.
Do like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith type thing.
So that's my most anticipated, but I'll just read through these because these are also high on the list. So Transformers have an animated movie coming out called Transformers 1.
Animated, you say?
Animated.
Yeah, cool.
Which is going to, I've seen some stills of the just what the animation style is going to be look like. It looks incredible.
Nice.
So it's going back to the 80s TV style animation.
Yeah, cool.
It looks unbelievable.
Nice.
Cell animation style, but it looks incredible.
I think they're I've never been a Transformers kid. I was born too late for Transformers, so it never really appealed to me. I went and saw that first movie, the first Michael Bay movie, and in the first 3 minutes I knew it wasn't for me, and that was fine. So I was like, it's fine, I'll watch this and appreciate what it is. I've never gone back to a Transformers film except for Bumblebee, which I thought was the best. It was great. It had a very, like, Iron Giant feel. It had very Lone Wolf and Cub, the idea of, like, a girl and a robot. Like, that's what it felt like. And I was like, this... And again, going back to the DC argument, this is what I care about. Give me characters, give me relationships. The superheroics, the visuals will take care of themselves. Like, just get strong
get the plot of the story.
So I'm whilst it's not on my radar, if I see a trailer and it gives me that Turtles vibe or that Spider-Verse vibe, I'll be in for it.
From what I've seen from the concept art that they've put out, that they're just a really good. It looks. I think it's going to be a winner.
Yeah.
June 2 is coming out next month.
Oh wow, it's that soon.
June 2, yeah. I think it's maybe March, but I thought it was February. So that's really big on the list. Furiosa coming out.
Trailer is great, and I think Anya Taylor-Joy looks terrifying.
Yeah.
I did because she's all dirtied up and it almost looks like blood. And I was like, oh, like this is actually a very scary image. I'm very excited to see her. And Chris Hemsworth with a big old prosthetic nose.
Yes.
You know?
Chris Hemsworth playing the villain.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Joker, Folie à Deux.
Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. I'm here for it.
Oh, wonderful. Cool.
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
That looks
No way,
amazing.
really? Awesome.
Looks really, and all the OGs are back. The ones that are still up, they're actually in the story this time.
Yeah.
It looks, and that trailer, just that, like, I was saying to Tina, I'm like, oh, it's like Frozen. Like all the ice spikes coming out of the beach, like it's Frozen. But like, yeah. And I think they was like this the line like they call it the death chill. I'm like,
yes,
it actually looks scary.
Yeah.
Like, and we haven't seen scary Ghostbusters since the first Ghostbusters. So I like that they're leaning into the horror more. Like that's cool. And Slimer's back as well. So
so that one's on the list. Civil War. I'm not sure if you know about Civil War. But Civil War is an Alex Garland movie.
I've heard of it. I haven't watched any trailers, but everything he's made, I've loved. Ex Machina, Men, Annihilation.
Yeah.
He wrote 28 Days Later.
So that's on the list. John Krasinski's got a new movie coming out next year called If.
Oh, this is with Steve Carell.
Imaginary Friend.
I haven't watched the trailer for it yet. I actually don't watch a lot of trailers anymore, but I try to go in as cold as possible, but I have heard of this one,
So this looks like a family movie. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Speaking of Krasinski, there's a Quiet Place Day One.
That's on the list. Quiet Place Day One.
There you
go. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I really enjoyed the Planet of the Apes movies.
Now, I've heard mixed information. Is it a continuation of the trilogy, or is it?
I think they're new characters.
I thought I heard that it was set like 100 years after the death of Caesar, so it's still the same universe, but
so
in the future.
So new younger apes.
Younger apes, Apes Junior.
Inside Out 2.
I saw the teaser for it the other day in front of Wonka.
Yeah.
I didn't really know much about it, but I was like, this is cool, like teenage emotions.
Oh,
great.
Fabulous.
Kevin Costner's got a new Western movie coming out called Horizon. And then, so he's got one called Horizon Chapter 1. Seen the trailer for that. It's only a brief teaser. I've liked Kevin Costner's Westerns. This one looks like it's going to be a good one. Quiet Place Day One, we've mentioned. Alien has a new movie coming out.
Romulus?
Alien Romulus.
Yeah.
Is coming out. And the last one I'm anticipating is Beetlejuice 2.
Finally, with Jenna Ortega. So modern screen queen Jenna Ortega. What was the one before Beetlejuice 2 you just said? Romulus.
Alien Romulus.
I'm wary. And the only reason I'm wary is that I have not liked an Alien film since Alien. But they keep making Alien films. And I'm excited because I remember when Disney bought Fox, everyone was talking about like Deadpool and the X-Men. I was like, that is such a small portion of what Fox has. Like Fox has Die Hard. Fox has Predator, and they made Prey, and Prey was a lot of fun. Fox has Alien. Like Fox owns The Simpsons. Like start doing cool stuff with it. Like Disney has some of the best writers in the world, so start utilizing this project. It's taking a little while to get to Alien. I'm hopeful.
Well, it sounds like, from what I understand, it's more along the Aliens.
Yeah.
So much more action.
Yeah. Look, I'm never going to get 79 Alien again. It's fine. Covenant came pretty close to that weird like flute scene. Like I got to go back to that movie because I did enjoy a lot of it.
So they're anticipated.
I'm trying to think what else is coming. I'm sure there's a couple more. What are your thoughts on? And this might not be an anticipated one, but I'm interested. What are your thoughts on Madam Web?
Not interested.
Not interested at all. Those costumes. I mean, again, you can't base a film just on it. But like, there's a shot of Sydney Sweeney, who I only discovered like in the last 2 months. Apparently, she's huge in America. Of her wearing the Spider-Girl costume, looks exactly like the character. But like, and what's his name? Adam Scott is playing Ben Parker.
Yeah. Have you seen the trailer for Madam Web?
I don't think so. I don't think you've shown me that one.
Yeah. I'm a bit worried.
And what about Craven? Any thoughts on Craven? Russell Crowe playing Senior Craven.
Probably about the same.
Yeah. I mean, look, Sony haven't had the best track record. I remember the first Venom movie when I watched it in theaters. I was mentally writing a shopping list during the film because I didn't quite get into it. But I rewatched it last year and I was like, you know what? If you just take it for what it is, it's a really fun movie. And then I rewatched Carnage. The first time I watched Carnage, I was disappointed because, spoilers, they kill Carnage. And it's very tame for what I thought of Carnage was. But again, if you take it for what it is on a rewatch, it was fun. I would like more, but yeah. But yes, Sony have continually insist on building a universe of Spider-Man without Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and look, this is coming from a Marvel fan. Like, I'm familiar with all of the characters.
Yeah.
And I still don't think I'm going to go and watch it.
Just
I'm
wait
worried
for it.
about, like, if I know who the characters are, I'm already invested in that universe. If I'm not going to watch it, who's going to go and watch this movie?
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway.
Interesting. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I know there are a couple of movies coming up that I had on top of my head before. Didn't write them down. Ill prepared. But it's interesting. It's going to be very comic book light for the first time in a decade. Like, with the exception, even maybe since 2020. Like 2020, we didn't have really any movies come out. There's going to be very comic book light, which I think is not a bad thing. I think it's good to take a bit of a break. Like, as you mentioned with Deadpool being the only one, there's no DC. There's nothing DC out in cinemas this year. We have Crisis on Infinite Earths, the animated movies coming out this year. The first part drops next week. But yeah, nothing live action until next year with Superman Legacy, which I'm very excited for. And yeah, just one Marvel film, so it'll be interesting. It'll be good to give other franchise or other movies a chance to breathe. And give
True. Just have to see what else is out there.
Is there another Fast and the Furious this year? Surely.
Oh God! I watched up to number 14 or something.
Yeah, it'd be 11.
Oh my gosh!
I watched Fast X the other day. I was like, look, Jason Momoa is the villain. I'm going to watch it. And the director, I was reading an interview. Clearly, I read a lot of interviews, and the director was like, "Look, the last movie they went to space. I'm glad we went to space. We're not looking to elevate. We're gonna go more grounded with this one."
Oh my God!
And I watched it, and I was like, "Okay, so by grounded you mean physically they stay on the ground?" Because there's a scene. I don't know if you've seen it. I was telling Tina the other day. It's incredible. I think previously the best scene in a Fast and the Furious film was when The Rock with his bare hands moves a guided torpedo away from the cars. On ice planes. But in this one, Vin Diesel is chasing a bomb that's rolling down the streets of Italy, and it's going to blow up the Vatican. As you do.
Could it? No.
And he's driving on this bomb, and he can't stop it. He's like, I don't know what to do. We need to get it. And they're like, you've tried everything you can, Dom. Like, get out of there. And Vin Diesel's like, I haven't tried everything. And of course, just to the side of him is driving up, there's one of those, like, trucks with the ramp that carries all the cars. And the ramp has to be down, so he drives off it. He drives and crashes into a crane which swings around and knocks the bomb into the river. Thankfully, Italy is safe. Like the most ridiculous thing I've seen. But I'll be honest, I loved it. It's they're finishing it with there's 2 more to come out and then they're done. Apparently, I want to remind people, for those who forget, the first Fast and the Furious movie is about people who steal DVD players. That's what it's about. Yeah. It's about people who like get on the back of trucks and steal DVD players. You can't buy a DVD player anymore.
How far we've come.
Actually, got me thinking. I remember we were watching Wonka the other day, and I said to David as we're waiting for all the credits to start and for the movie to start. Sorry, and I'm like, do people actually take videos of movies anymore? You know how back in the early 2000s,
the woman who was sitting next to us in Barbie was filming Barbie. It does happen, yeah.
Yeah, because remember how that's how you sort of got movies all the time, just doing it, the bad.
Yep, from Caribbean Market.
Yep, Caribbean Market.
Those were some lovely movies. Really good movies on your list. I feel like there's so much stuff we didn't even get to talk about, but we have been going for almost 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts? Liz, did you have anything you're looking forward to for 2024? Dave's giving us a few there.
Inside Out, definitely. I think I've been really anticipating that one for a while. Isabella's just in the background going, woohoo! Because I really love that. As I said, I think on one of our podcasts, it was like one of my top movies.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
So really interested to see how they do that, because that's about puberty now. So it'll be interesting to see, and anxiety, which I think is quite a good concept.
And I think a lot more emotions too.
Yeah.
I think anxiety is just the one that I think depression is going to come into it.
Yeah. It'll be interesting how they.
I wonder, it's Disney. How far into puberty do they go? Do they go into the idea of affection and stuff like that, and crushing on people? It'd be interesting to see. But I'm keen for that.
Yeah, and obviously Deadpool, 100%. So excited for that.
I just remember there's also a Godzilla Kong 2 coming out.
Yeah, I did see the trailer for that.
Oh, there's a trailer for it? Yeah, I haven't watched the TV show. Like, I've watched all of them, and with the exception of Skull Island, something's missing. I don't know what it is. Like, something's just not quite working. Oh, Rebel Moon Part 2 will come out soon as well.
Yeah.
Which we talked about off air. I quite enjoyed Part 1. So I'm looking to see how that wraps up.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, that'll do it then. We'll wrap things up for the first episode of 2024. So thank you, Liz David, for letting me into your home
Thanks for listening
and having a chat about some movies. I think it's a great way to start off the year. For those listening, if you want to learn more or follow along, you can find me on Instagram. I was a teenage film snob. I'll be posting up plenty of photos of movies I'm watching, as well as a bit of a secret project I've been working on at home. More will be revealed in the coming weeks. Maybe even sooner. I'm working pretty hard on it. If you want to support the show financially, you can head to tpublic.com and buy your own I Was a Teenage Film Snob t-shirt, or you can click the links in my profile on Instagram. But that's going to do it. Thanks again to David and Liz. They'll be back pretty soon because we're going to enter the 2000s very, very shortly and talk about some more movies from another decade. But until then, I just want to thank everyone for listening. Hope you all had a happy, safe new year. Looking forward to talking about plenty of new movies this year. And as I say every week, guys, I was a teenage film snob, but I'm trying to be better. We'll see you next week. All right, I'll just hit record. We don't have to start straight away. Just get to go if you need a few more.
Yeah.
Another minute or so.
When does Paddington 3 come out?
Oh, got to be... have they started filming it yet? I know Sally Hawkins isn't back.
She's not back?
No.
Oh, really?
I think she opted to do Wonka instead.
Yeah, she was in that.
I think there was we saw Wonka the other day, so I think there was a clash, and she was like, "It's time to bow out of the Paddington franchise. Like, I've enjoyed doing it, but I'm moving on and doing something else." So,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
So this is great.
Recast.
Or does the Paddington franchise go dark? This is the year Paddington went savage.
Cocaine man.
One too few marmalade sandwiches and it was off the rails.
The marmalade affair.
The marmalade.
The marmalade incident.
They've made some really good.
He just calls her Lady Marmalade.
He gets involved with
Did you see Cocaine Bear?
I actually watched it the other day.
Did you?
It is, look, you get what you pay for.
It's in the title.
Yes. Like, I was talking about it on the podcast this morning because we're doing, horror in review. And I was like, I get, because they were like, what's the worst horror film of the year? And I was like, honestly, I don't have a worst horror film. I can't even tell you 5 bad films. I thought all of them had their own merits. I was like, yes, Cocaine Bear if you wanted, but you kind of get what you pay for. And someone was like, yeah, that wasn't terrible. I'm like, no, it wasn't. It was fine. But it's weird, because Alden Ehrenreich, the guy who played Han Solo, is in it. He's in a very different film to everyone else, because everyone's in a very self-aware, silly movie, and he's playing it so seriously.
Oh, really?
It's I would say for that alone, you got to watch it, because it's why is everyone having fun? And he's got this really grim, gravitas of a performance.
Oh my god,
he's excellent in Oppenheimer. Alden Ehrenreich's in
I'm trying to remember what
He's one of the I'm sure it's Alden.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right.
He's in a lot of the scenes with Robert Downey Jr.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's great in it.
Yeah.
He's the senator or whatever, the lawyer who's trying to Robert Downey Jr. trying to clear his name because Oppenheimer was clapping back at him basically.
Well, we were watching it the other day, and I said, you pointed out, who is that guy? And I said, that's Alden Ehrenreich. He was in Han Solo.
Han Solo, that's
movie.
right. Yeah. I got that confused. I thought he was you know who I thought he was? I thought he was playing what's his name? Elton John.
Oh, that's Taron Egerton.
Yeah, Taron Egerton.
Those two do look kind of similar, and I would even throw Ansel Elgort in there as well, the kid from Baby Driver, three brooding handsome men. But Taron Egerton apparently in talks to be Wolverine, so I'm cool with that.
Nice.
So,
not Daniel Radcliffe.
Look, there's the rumors galore. It'll probably start someone we don't even think of again, someone who you think is going to be horribly miscast and it works out fine, just like Hugh Jackman. So.
Taron Egerton. He would be a good choice.
I think my most favourite casting I've heard in the last few weeks is Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. That's what I'm really keen for.
Yeah,
he's great.
That's perfect casting.
Yeah, I like how Gary Oldman's in that.
Mm.
Oof. Okay, I'm
Ready
just
to
writing
go?
down some like who are the producers and stuff.
Nice.
I like it anyway.
Nice one. You're getting into the details of it. I don't
I don't know.
bother with you getting. You're taking it
I better
real.
not to get
It's 2024. We're getting serious. Oh, let me just stretch these old muscles. Oh. Welcome to. Oh. I was about to start the show. No, say the thing. Say the thing. It's okay.
No. I'm not going to say it now.
No, go on. Say it.
I was going to call Saltburn Saltbush.
We'll get to that later.
Feel the burn. That was pretty salty. Okay.